friends, welcome to Bookish Bliss, our virtual book club. Every week we will dig into a section of chapters in our favorite books. Let's get started.
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 17 of Bookish Bliss. We have a lot to discuss today.
Yes, this week we are covering chapters 33 to 45 of A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. There will be no spoilers beyond the covered chapters. You don't have to read the whole book to listen. You just have to be caught up on the chapters we're covering. Amanda, my darling, what are you drinking tonight?
Megan, my darling, I am having a high noon tequila seltzer, prickly pear.
I'm jealous. I love the high noon tequila one.
It's the last one I have, so I have to sip slow tonight, but what are you drinking tonight, Megan?
I'm still hungover from Saturday. It is Monday. This is why we're recording so late because we've been so busy and my ass was hungover last night.
Yeah.
But I'm having water. I'm having water to cleanse my body.
Hydration is necessary.
Yes, I'm old and I cannot do things that we did.
I know. I can't drink like I used to, for sure.
Yeah, no. When shots start coming out, your girl
I
cannot say
know,
no
I
to
know.
to a tequila shot. I can't do it.
I don't know how
And
you did
so-
that. You didn't even flinch.
No.
It was like you were drinking
I love
water.
them. Yeah. I was like, let me pop these back real quick. I love it so much.
And I'm like,
but
can I have a green tea shot? Because I need a mixed shot.
I don't know how I do it,
I don't know.
but I love it so much. But my 33-year-old body does not like it the next day
Yeah.
or the day after that because it takes me
For like
multiple
a week.
days to recover now. Yeah. Well, cheers to episode 17.
Well, I have to open mine. I'm you today. I haven't opened mine yet.
Oh my God. What?
Here we go.
Okay.
Oh, I just got seltzer everywhere. Oh, well.
Cheers,
Cheers
darling, to episode 17.
To episode 17. Now let's get started with the good stuff and break down ACOWAR Part IV. Over to you, Meg. Please summarize this set of chapters for us.
All right, just like every week, we're going to do quick little summaries of all of our covered chapters, and then later on in the episode, we'll be breaking it down a little further and discussing it in full details because a lot happened. Speaking of a lot happened, I can't believe we're going back to chapter 33 where we find out, holy cannoli, Elaine Archeron is a freaking seer.
Wild.
Lucien, who has all but given up on his mating bond with Elaine, decides to go off into the continent to find the missing sixth queen to gain her assistance in the war from Elaine's vision. Rhys and Feyre have another heart-to-heart. Chapter 34. Amren found no other Hybern soldiers on her hunt through Velaris the night after the attack from the Hybern Ravens. Lucien sets off on his journey, Nesta practices her magic, and Amren comes bursting through the townhouse doors to tell everyone that Hybern was currently attacking the Summer Court.
Wild.
Chapter 35. Let's get down to business because we're about to go kick some Hybern ass. Cassian and Rhysand rally the Illyrians, and Feyre and Mor winnow in, and they'll be taking on the palace to protect those inside. Hybern has finally made their move. Chapter 36. Lots and lots of bloodshed in this chapter. Feyre and Mor have total girl power and kick some serious ass defending the Lesser Fae and assisting the Summer Court soldiers. This chapter ends with the biggest a-hole of all, the King of Hybern, smiling at Rhys, readying for an epic throwdown.
Wild.
Chapter 37. What should have been the end of the King of Hybern's life was just a bunch of taunting because the King of Hybern wasn't even there to fight his own battles. But Rhys ended the battle once the king left and misted away the rest of the Hybern soldiers. Chapter 38. Tarquin is snarky and super unappreciative that the Night Court was the only court to come and aid them during this battle. He snaps at Feyre to watch herself the next time she tries to give a High Lord advice. Sir, off your high horse. She is a high lady and do as she damn well pleases.
That's motherfucking right.
Chapter 39. Feyre tries to help the wounded around the camp, but she passes out face first into a pile of mud due to exhaustion. Also, this chapter had Feyre and Rhysand getting a little hot and steamy when the wounded were literally dying around them. So weird. Also, Nesta is looking for Cassian after the battle. Feyre also wants to revisit our bestie, the Bone Carver.
We're going to see the Bone Carver, Bone Carver, Bone Carver.
Thank you for just starting my next summary of chapter 40.
Whoops.
We are back with the bone carver. But he was like, I was pretty clear the first time. Mirror or no deal. Bye. Elaine smiles for the first time since being dunked in the cauldron. And Nesta wants to know why Feyre went into battle. People needed help, Nesta.
Come on.
Jesus Christ.
Duh.
Chapter 41. We are prepping for the High Lords meeting. Feyre gets a new crown, and Nesta shocks us all by stating she was coming with the whole group to go to the High Lords meeting.
Yeah, that was a shock to me too.
Yes, and she was like, don't even dare asking Elaine or I'll fucking slit all your throats, but okay.
Yeah.
Chapter 42. Nesta will not be a coward. She becomes the new emissary to the human lands, promotion, and now an official as an inner circle member.
Yes.
Love the tension between Cassian and Nesta.
Yes.
This chapter ends with them arriving in the Dawn Court for the meeting, and Rhys reminds Feyre to bow to no one.
That's right.
Chapter 43. We get to see 3 High Lords interact with our inner circle. Everyone is very intrigued with Feyre's new status in the presence of Nesta. Odd tension with Rhys and Callias, and Tamtan enters back into the chat with the most dramatic, for no reason whatsoever, entrance into this meeting. Chapter 44. Tam is a little biatch throughout this entire chapter, being a whiny little complainer, so over him, as I have been for a long time. A lot was said for no reason. Unfortunately, we'll have to cover this later in the plot section, even though I wish I could just pretend that Tamlin never existed. Just like Rhys taking away his ability to speak. I would have done it the second he walked into that room and threw him out the window, but that's just me. Oh, and Azriel attacked Eris, but more on that later. In our last chapter, chapter 45, we actually start planning a game plan for the war with less interruptions from Tammy. But Baron, not to be outdone at being the most obnoxious individual in the room, starts chiming in, and as we'll discuss the details later, I will end this note for now. Feyre smacks Baron's stupid face with a flame of fire. Well deserved.
Yes, well deserved indeed. Bravo, Megan. Thank you so much. And for those of you that don't know, I don't read these summaries first. So just like Megan doesn't read my predictions, I don't read the summaries. So I always find them so entertaining.
I have to be in the mood to write them too. I'm a very mood summary writer.
Yeah, for sure.
Because last night they were not coming out so hot. I was like, this happened, then this happened, and then the end.
Yeah, well, they turned out great.
All right, Amanda. Yes. I will hand it over to you now to catch us up on our many characters who have entered the story.
We do have a lot of characters for this section today. I'm going to start with Elaine. Feyre thinks that although Nesta took something from the cauldron, it may have given Elaine something. And there is a reason why she's seeing these things. Obviously, we know now that she is the seer. When Lucian went to leave to find the Sixth Queen, Elaine took half steps towards him, like she wanted to speak to him or stop him. But he left and she walked away.
Do you think, and we can talk about this later if you want, that when Rhys and Feyre and kind of even Nesta and the whole group left them alone in the living room, do you think they actually had words? Do you think that they had a discussion for her to even come down the steps to walk towards him?
Interesting.
Because obviously we don't know. There was no scene because it's not from Feyre's point of view.
That's interesting. I want to say no, only because she's being so weird still and quiet, but also who knows? Maybe they're freaking talking through their bond.
Yeah, we don't know.
That's an interesting thought. I'm going to have to circle back to that. Elaine was in good spirits, though, making bread with Ceridwen and Nuella at the townhouse, an improvement that Feyre was very happy to see. Me too. I was happy to see that.
I know. I thought she was going to pass out the second she saw her smiling.
Happier than when she sees Rhysand.
Yeah. Elaine smiles. Oh my God.
Nesta is close to grasping whatever skills required to repair the wall. Amryn says all she needs to do is unleash herself, which scares the shit out of me.
Yes.
Mor and Nesta have a little catfight, and I'm so here for it. Nesta asks where
Mhm.
Cassian is, and Moore is like, oh, hell no, he's busy. Moore finally gets Nesta back for her diss about Moore's dress at the first dinner together.
Yeah, it was about to be a girl
Yup.
fight.
Nesta doesn't want to be remembered as a coward and insists on attending the meeting. Reese offers her Feyre's previous position as emissary to the human world. He welcomes her to the court and says she's about to have one hell of a first day. Good way to start a new job, I guess.
I know. Get
Yep.
right into it.
Nesta and Cassian, though, heart eyes. I can't.
Nice.
When they're winnowing to the High Lord meeting, Cassian barely knows Moore exists and can't stop staring at Nesta. And she is staring back, people.
Yeah. They're not even like, there's no emotion on their face. They're literally just like staring so deeply
Yeah.
into each other's eyes.
Wild.
My God.
I know. I was
Sexy.
like, damn, I need more of this. Another novella, maybe?
Right?
Elaine tells the inner circle more
Mhm.
about the sixth queen. She goes by Vasa. She says they sold her to some darkness, to some sorcerer lord who keeps other girls, others like her. But by day, she is one form, and by night, human again. Feyre says a bird of burning feathers. She says there is a lake on the continent where he keeps them all. Who do we know that lives on the lake on the continent?
The bone carver's brother lives there.
Interessante, indeed. Feyre thinks that if they can find her, she could be vital in convincing the human forces to fight and giving them an ally on the continent. So
Mhm.
Lucian agrees that he is going to go to the continent and see if he can find the queen and come back with a human army. It's better than sitting around in Valeris doing nothing.
Though I have to imagine there are many things you
True.
could do in Valaris, but whatever, Lucian. You had more space to roam than you did in the fucking spring
Well, I
court.
mean, I guess now we know he actually was doing something because he was in touch with the Dawn
The
Court.
Dawn
Yeah.
Court.
So who knows what he was doing, that little
Yeah.
foxy boy.
Sneaky little fox.
That makes him sound sexy. I guess he
Yep.
is, in our minds anyway.
Yeah. I'm a Lucian lover.
I was a hater for a minute,
I
but
said,
I'm sure I'll probably hate again.
no, I don't think so.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know. Rhysand is in his feels about the high priestesses in the library after the attack from Hybern's ravens. He believes they have endured enough. He failed them. The library will no longer feel safe for them. The one place that they had to themselves where they knew they were protected, Hybern took that away. Rhysand spent a lot of the time reassuring the priestesses of their safety and showing them the new wards. The one who let the Hybern ravens in let Rhysand enter her mind to see what happened. Moore also spent a lot of time with them too. We learn from the start of the meeting that Rhysand tried to stop Amarantha from going after Callias. He says to Callias, when your people rebelled, she was furious. She wanted you dead. I convinced her that it would serve little purpose. She backed off the idea of killing him. His rebels were dead. Rhys convinced her it was enough. He thought it was the end of it. He found out when Callias did about the children she killed. Amarantha viewed his defense of Callias as a warning sign. She kept him confined and didn't tell him any of it. He tried to break into the minds of the soldiers, but she dampened his powers. She sent a Damati with them. The children's minds had been shattered. Rhys thinks she wanted them to suspect him to keep them from ever aligning against her. Wild. Why are we still talking about this bitch?
I know.
I hate her.
I know. I know. We're always still talking about her. Literally 3 books
like
later.
why? But I get it. I mean, she was evil and torturous for 50 years, and they're all just coming out of it traumatized as fuck. But still,
Yeah, they literally got no time off, and it's like, okay, now let's deal with
Yeah.
Hybern again. Like, what the hell?
Feyre is ready to go back to the prison and wants Rhysand to take her. Feyre and Rhysand go to see the bone carver, and Feyre asks him to choose another object, but he does not budge. He wants the Ouroboros, his window to the world. He is not budging.
He said mirror or
No deal.
no deal.
No deal. Amryn hunted Valeris all night and didn't find any other Hybern assassins. People were leaving her blood, though, payment to stay away. Amryn is also close to finding what they need in the Book of Breathings. Again, because what else do they need in the Book of Breathings? I thought she already knew the spell. Now there's a different spell for the wall.
Yeah. She's always just staring at this fucking book. Like, how does she just not know all the spells
know.
by now? I mean, I imagine maybe it is a pretty big book, but I feel like this all Amryn does is
See,
stare at the book.
Because
That's
it's
all she's
made
been
of
doing.
gold or metal. Isn't it metal, like the book?
I think it was enclosed in a metal case so that it didn't get
I've
ruined in
literally
the
been
water,
picturing
but
this metal pages. I'm like,
oh, I don't think
how
so.
thick can
I don't
it
know.
be if it's all metal? Like, it's probably like 4 pages.
Like, she's just staring at the
Yeah.
same 4
Yeah.
pages over and over
That's
again.
literally what I picture in my brain.
Stop. Oh my
I
god.
don't know why, but that's what I picture.
That's
I
so
need to
funny, I
know.
love it.
We need to find fan art. Let us know if you find any fan art of the
Yeah.
Book of Breathings.
Yes, can you please
Yes,
DM us some fan art
please.
of the Book of Breathings?
All right. Tarquin blames Feyre for Hybern's attack, saying she left the door wide open to the spring court when she left. It was an easy trip to his doorstep. Clearly, he was still mad at her, but Rhysand was not having it. He was defending his girl.
Yeah.
Tarquin rescinds the blood rubies, so there are no debts between them after the Night Court assisted in the attack from Hybern. I love how Cassian is like, Amren wants to keep hers though.
Yeah, he's like, good luck getting that back from Amren.
Speaking of Cassian, we learn that it's his job
Mm.
to tell the families of the fallen soldiers of their death. He'll send out lists and visit the families if he knew them. That's sad.
Yeah, that's a tough job.
I mean, I guess as general of the army, that's what you got to do.
Yeah,
But crazy.
that's true.
After the attack on the Summer Court, Hybern's fleet fled back across the sea. There was no sign of any other forces waiting to strike, and no whisper from Tamlin or Jurian. So we see Tamlin later in this section, but Jurian, MIA that one.
He is missing. We have not seen or heard from him since Feyre left the Spring Court.
Which was pages ago. Hundreds of pages.
Pages. We're already on part 4. That was in part 1.
Yeah, that's crazy. So at least 300 pages. Wild.
Yeah.
We get a description of Thesan. He has brown skin and hair kissed with gold as if the sunrise had permanently gilded them, but his upswept eyes, the rich brown of freshly tilted fields, were his loveliest feature. His male captain was his lover, and he dressed like Amren. Okay.
I know. His master tinker looks like Amren a little bit. And so Feyre wondered if she had chosen her features based on this girl.
Oh, yeah.
Or their
That's
court.
right, yeah. Callias has white hair and skin so pale it looked frozen. He had crushing blue eyes that seemed like chips hewn from a glacier. He wore a jacket of royal blue embroidered with silver thread. Vivian, Callias's wife, threatened to freeze his balls off when he suggested she stay home. When she saw more, they were laughing and crying and dancing around, telling each other that they looked the same. Another friend of Moore's. Once she finds out that Feyre is a high lady, she questions why she can't be a high lady as well. She had not been under the mountain. Callias was her childhood friend and had been protective of her over the years. He placed her on border duty for decades to avoid the scheming of his court. He didn't let her near Amarantha either. In the last moments when his power had been ripped by the spell, Callias had flung out the remnants to warn her, to tell Vivian he loved her, and then he begged her to protect their people, and she had. The day he returned home, he winnowed right to her, knelt down on one knee, and asked her to be his wife. They went to a temple an hour later, and that night, the mating bond snapped into place.
I know. That was so cute. I love
And I
that.
want her to be a high lady now.
I know. She deserves it after all she did while he was under the mountain.
Right? She's like, why am I not a high lady? Why didn't I think of that?
Right? So funny.
Helion was kissed by the sun and dangerous. He has always liked Rhysand though, so he's cool in my book.
I know. I want to interact with him.
Yeah.
He's a little shit stirrer, and I love it.
Varian joins us for the meeting. Disgusted when he sees Cassian. He can really hold a grudge for some people, I guess.
I can't.
Didn't hold one for Amren, though.
No, he loves Amren.
He loves Amren. Nuan was a master tinkerer in the Dawn Court. She was the one who fixed Lucian's eye. She had a golden mechanical hand that mirrored the eye she made for Lucian. She's also a skilled alchemist and has a solution to rid Hybern of their Faebane. She was able to get samples from the attack on Valeris from Lucian and made an antidote. It was a powder they could ingest from their food and drink that grants immunity from the Faebane. They were already manufacturing as much as possible. We learned that she was from Zion, and we learned that Thesan's mother and a lot of his court was too, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Because I don't even remember that on the map.
I think there's
So,
so much of the world that's just not on that tiny map. It's like
yeah.
basically just showing us Perithian and its bordering continent, not even the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Whoever's gonna be in the war, basically.
Yeah.
Interessante. But that's all I have for our characters, so I'm gonna get right into the world building here.
Okay.
We learn about another territory called Scythia. It lies along the wall to the east. It's smallest among the human queen's realms, but rich in trade and arms. Moore remembers that the people there are horse people,
Hmm.
which I thought was interesting. I
Yeah.
can't even picture what that is.
I think
Like,
it's
what
just
is
like
a horse person?
I think they're just like people who ride horses. Like that's
Oh,
their like preferred method of
I'm
transportation.
literally thinking it's like have person, have horse.
No, I don't think so. I think it's a human territory. It's a human territory.
Oh my god, what am I, an idiot? It's a human territory.
I think they just ride
I'm
horses.
like, these people have like horse bodies? Like, what is going on?
No,
Okay,
not
they're
to my
horse
knowledge.
people. They
They're
ride horses. Got it.
yeah.
They're human. Duh.
Yeah, they're human.
I don't know where my brain is today.
Oh my god. Are you still hungover?
Maybe. Hybern attacks the summer court. Amryn gets a warning message from Varian to prepare their own defenses. They are overwhelmed, so the inner circle decides to help with the Illyrian army. The High Fae were barricading the lesser fairies below, leaving them trapped and without aid. So, of course, Feyre and Moore came to their rescue.
Mm.
More of the battle scenes during Fast Magic, though.
Ooh.
Fast Magic. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Fast Magic. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, that's good. We should keep that. All right. The meeting.
The meeting.
This was just some quick notes that I jotted throughout the whole section about the meeting. So,
Okay.
kind of like Fast Magic, just going to go through the points. Tamlin, at this point in the story, still hasn't accepted the meeting invite, but Baron has, so the rest of the High Lords will be in attendance. The meeting will take place in the Dawn Court. Nesta decides she wants to attend the meeting. I was right about that. The meeting taking place in the Dawn Court.
You were. You were.
They are all taking bets on how soon a fight will break out in this meeting. And even later during the meeting, we find out other courts were also taking bets.
Yes.
Everybody knew shit was going to go down.
Yes, exactly.
Day, winter, dawn, and night are the first ones to arrive. Autumn and summer follow, but spring has still not yet arrived.
Hmm.
Feyre realizes that some seats in the chamber were made for winged creatures, and they weren't the only ones. The Peregrines are distantly related to Draken's Seraphim people. They provide Thesan with a small aerial legion, which I thought was pretty cool. They're not the only ones with wings.
Yeah.
The chambers at the Dawn Court had a shallow circular reflection pool carved in the floor itself rather than a table, occupying the space between the circle of chairs. Feyre tells the High Lords that are present at this time, which I believe is only Thesan, Helion, and Callias, what happened to her sisters. They threw them in the cauldron after the High Priestess Ianthe and Tamlin sold out Prithian and her family to them. The other High Lords arrived late. The High Lord of the Autumn Court arrived with his sons in rank and wife by his side. His wife looked like she was searching for her missing son, though. Lucian is not present.
No.
Feyre recalls her saving her life in exchange for sparing Lucian's life. And Tamlin finally winnows into the chamber, smiling like a wolf. Ooh,
Barf.
barf. Megan's like, fuck him. We're not talking
Yeah.
about him. Skip.
Skip.
We do get a nice little description of the Dawn Court, too. The dewy freshness of morning lingered in the balmy air as they looked up at the mountain palace spiraling into the heavens above. If the palace above the Court of Nightmares had been crafted of moonstone, this was made from sunstone. They had steps and balconies and archways and verandas, bridges, all linking the towers and gilded domes of the palace. Periwinkle morning glories climbing the pillars with neatly cut blocks of stone. The castle was in the clouds, and below was a countryside speckled with red roofed little villages and sparkling rivers. Sounds so nice.
It does sound so lovely.
So lovely. That was a quick world building section because we are already at Fast Magic.
Yes, my
Fast Magic.
favorite.
Woo, woo, woo. Fast Magic. Woo, woo, woo. Fast Magic.
Yeah, Fast Magic.
Woo! Okay, here we go. Just gonna bullet them out. Nesta is constantly practicing building invisible shields. Amryn says she will be trying on something tangible soon. In the battle with Hybern at the summer court, Feyre used her fire power to tear through shields with a wall of fire that found its way down the soldiers' throats and burned every inch of the way. And then she used her water powers to shove down water into their throats and up their noses, sealing off all air and drowning them. She shifts her eyes to night seeing and winnowed through the corridor with more on a killing spree.
Whoa.
Wild. Feyre is calling out for Rhys during the battle in the summer court, and he lets her see through his eyes what he faced. His magic was dampened, and the King of Hybern was smiling at her mate. Well, we know now that it was like some fucking clone of him or
Yeah, an illusion.
an illusion of him. Feyre and Rhys are talking through the mating bond throughout this section, and she's telling him to kill the king. Kill the King of Hybern. Kill him. Just get it over with.
Kill him! Kill him!
Unfortunately,
Kill him right now.
it doesn't work like that
Well,
when you have an illusion in front of you.
you tried.
He tried. Rhysand shot a javelin of power at him, and it went right through him. It rippled and steadied. An illusion, a shade. Then he was gone, and the damper on Rhysand's powers vanished too. Then he turned all the nearby Hybern soldiers to nothing but red mist and splinters floating on the waves. Tarquin and Rhysand's powers are unleashed as the King of Hybern vanishes from the summer court. A mighty maelstrom of darkness and water and wind shoved Hybern's fleet back over the horizon. Feyre shows Rhysand what the Bonecarver's mask was and what their future son looked like. That was interesting.
Yeah.
Rhys rips away Tamlin's ability to speak in the meeting, which I thought was hilarious, and I know you love that part.
Beautiful.
Masterpiece.
Masterpiece.
Shields are up in this meeting and reinforced when Tamlin arrives. Eris makes a comment about Mor, and Asriel attacks him and blocks him with his shield. Even Baron's fire can't get through.
Yeah.
Helion snapped his fingers and a stack of paper landed before all who were in attendance of the meeting. We're finally getting to the meeting part here.
Yeah.
And last but not least, we have Feyre blasting flames at Baron for his remark on Rhysand.
Shoot.
Now he knows that she's got some of his power.
Yes, he does.
Wild. What a crazy section. But I will let you, Megan, take us back to chapter 33 and start off our plot and foreshadowing section.
All right, let's take a little sippy sip before we move on to the plot.
Let's take one.
Chapter 33. Elaine is a seer. Which
wild.
So much happens in this section that even when we were going back to like just go over our notes before we recorded, I looked back and I was like, chapter 33, Elaine is a seer. I'm like, oh my God, that happens in this section because so much happens.
So much happens. Every time we go back, I'm like, I don't even remember where we're going to start from.
Yeah. Like what happened?
Just a mind fuck, the whole section.
Mor studies Elaine and she sees that this is true. So we don't know how Mor's power works, but apparently it's true because she stared at her. So
yeah, apparently.
Apparently. Everything Elaine had been saying was now finally making sense. Every ramble she had said was now known to be true. So she's just not saying weird shit like we thought she was. It actually had a meeting.
Yeah, which I kind of assumed was going to be the case, but I didn't see her being a seer. I don't know. I just knew she was saying it for some reason.
Yeah. They said that even though Nesta stole something from the cauldron, what if the cauldron had a gifted Elaine the seer ability, like Amanda said earlier? Elaine seemed more relaxed now that they understood who she was and what was happening when she said things like that. It's like, bitch, you could have just told them instead of just like, Cassian, you're gonna die. Like, fire and flames and queens. Like, shut up, Elaine, and just tell us you're a seer and then spout off some weird shit.
I thought you were going to say, oh my, after that.
Oh my. Yeah.
Flames and shadows and queens. Oh my.
Shut up. They pressed her more on the queen she saw in her last vision. She says it's the sixth queen that the other queens had said had been ill. The group was wondering what kind of threat did this sixth queen pose to the other queens that they trapped her with this sorcerer, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
Like, why did they do this in the first place?
Yeah.
Elaine said she is cursed, one form during the day and another by night. She was a firebird during the day and a human at night. Elaine said she could hear her cries, her screams, her rage. They knew little information on her, but that she was a young and a queen of a small area and that her name was Vasa. They think that she may be very important in this war, that they should find her and see if she can rally human troops to be on their side after telling her story about what the other mortal queens did to her. Because we know that the other mortal queens are aligned with Hybern, so there
Yeah.
probably aren't going to be other human armies coming to defend human territories, which is just kind of interesting at this point.
Yeah. No, for sure. I totally agree. I think this is a great idea to find her. Because
Mhm.
if she's locked away, she must be powerful. They didn't kill her, though. So do
Yeah.
they want to use her?
Or could they not kill her, and why couldn't they kill her?
Yeah, good point.
We'll have to see.
We'll have to see.
Cassian says they cannot spare anyone as the war is approaching too quickly and the High Lords meeting was days away to spare anyone from their group. Moore is like, if Elaine is seeing this and we don't do anything to try and bring her to our side and gain more allies, then maybe we deserve to fail in this war. Which Moore makes a very good point.
Yeah.
Which brings Lucian offering to go find the sixth queen. Just when it seems like Feyre was going to sacrifice herself again to go and find this sixth queen because she doesn't feel like she is important at all in this group, even though she's the high lady of the
Yeah.
night court, she was going to go and do it herself before Lucian says that he will. Rhysand says, why is Lucian the best man for this job?
Yes. And this is actually my notable line for chapter 33, page 339. What makes you think you could find her? This eye, Lucian gestures to the metal contraption. It can see things that others can't. Spells, glamours. Perhaps it can help me find her and break her curse. I'm not needed here. I'll fight if you need me to, but I don't belong in the autumn court, and I'm willing to bet I'm no longer welcome at the spring court. Home, he had almost said, and I cannot sit here and do nothing. Those queens with their armies, there is a threat in that regard, too, so use me. Send me. I will find Vasa. See if she can bring help.
You know what's so funny is like now we know that Lucian knew that Feyre was bullshitting the whole time because
Yeah,
he could see the glamour.
true.
So
Of
why didn't
the
he
oh yeah, of the tattoo.
so why didn't he ever just say like I when they were talking about it later like I knew you had a glamour on you.
That's interesting. Maybe he's
Like
saying it now by saying this.
yeah, like I knew you were bullshitting the whole time.
And she didn't like pick up on it.
I think she knew Lucian wasn't picking up what she was putting down,
Oh yeah,
but
for
maybe
sure.
this just gives us like the confirmation why.
Yeah. That's true. Good thought, Megan. I didn't think about that.
Or if he really didn't see it, then that is definitely a mistake in this book.
Yeah. That's true.
Elaine does not say anything and is barely making eye contact with Lucian. Nesta seems worried too much for Elaine because if something happened to Lucian, what would happen to Elaine due to the mating bonds? Rhys says that he cannot afford to send a force to protect Lucian in the human realm, but Lucian said it would be boring if there wasn't a little danger involved and that he would travel faster alone.
Okay, Lucian. He's about the danger.
Yes, he is. Like Amanda said earlier, he really just doesn't feel like he fits in anywhere at this point. So, going on this mission, doing something that seems useful for the war is what he needs to be doing so he doesn't
Yeah.
go crazy.
Yeah, and I feel like it's also another way that he can prove his loyalty to this night court. Maybe they'll officially give him a spot in the inner circle.
Maybe. The gang then disperses from the room, even Nesta, to leave Lucian and Elaine alone to talk or not to talk. And like we were contemplating earlier, do we think they
Yeah.
did? I don't know. I think they did. I'm going to say they did.
They did?
Yeah.
But like
Not
about what?
I don't think they said much, but I think they talked.
Enough for her to want to stop him?
Yeah.
They must have, I guess. You're right. You're probably right.
I'm just going to say that they did. I honestly don't know for sure. I
Yeah.
just have to think that they did because that's so fucking awkward. It's not like Elaine followed them out of the room right away and went to bed
Yeah. Unless she was just
because I
worried about him because of the mating bond. But then
Yeah,
why were they
maybe.
what were yeah, then it doesn't make sense for them not to have exchanged words.
Yeah, because they did in the library.
Yeah.
She talked back to
Yeah,
him.
I think you're right.
So I'm going to think that they did.
Okay. Me too.
Rhysand and Feyre then have a little chat in their bedroom once they leave everyone to go upstairs. Feyre cleans the blood off of Rhysand's hands because he's still dirty from the attack in the library from the Highburn Ravens. Feyre wants to know why this attack in this time is more important to him than before. And Rhysand says if he cannot protect his people, then what is this all for? Are they going to fail in this war? He is taking on too much on his own, and he just doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Feyre is supportive queen as always and tells him what happened today is not his fault. And they have a spell book of their own, and they basically just have to take this one day at a time until they win this war. Rhys also says he's not mad about the tattoo in case she was worried. And she's like, I wasn't. I do what I want.
Yeah. Not a thought of my mind.
Yeah. Rhysand says he needs to increase her salary for her sage advice and all the other things that she provides to him. And she's
Ooh.
like, "You are a shameless flirt, Rhysand."
He is. He is a shameless flirt indeed.
Indeed. Chapter 34. Amryn found no other Highburn soldiers in the city. People left blood offerings on the door for her. She was the monster that defended the city from other monsters.
Yeah.
One scary lady.
She is one scary lady. And what the fuck is she teaching Nesta? I'm already scared of Nesta too.
Yeah, me too. Rhys and Morris spent the next few days reassuring the priestesses. They seem to have made up during this time, Rhysand and Moore, by their bonding through helping the priestesses.
Yeah.
Feyre notes that they didn't have long. Highburn wasn't just coming, Highburn was here after that incident.
Yeah.
Lucian is preparing to leave for Valaris to go to the continent to find the Sixth Queen. Cassian gave Lucian his choice of weapons from his own personal collection to take with him. Rhys was going to be winnowing him to the continent as far as he could take him. It was even dangerous for the most powerful High Lord in history to be in the human realm. Feyre hugs Lucian and thanks him. Lucian said it was time for him to do something. We see Elaine lingering on the stairs before Lucian leaves, but she doesn't say anything. When he wasn't looking, it did look like she was going to step forward, but he winnows away with Rhys.
Mm-hmm.
Peace.
Wild. Bye, Lucian. Can't wait to see you again.
Feyre was waiting for Rhys to return after dropping Lucian off. Nesta was practicing her magic. Amryn told her she was so close to trying it on something tangible. Rhys returns from the human realm with no issues. Rhys wants to know how their new seer is doing, and Nesta is like, "Don't call her that."
Yeah, this is actually my notable line for chapter 34, page 346. Rhys says, "How's our new seer holding up?" And Nesta says, "Don't call her that." Feyre says through the bond, "Don't provoke her." And he responds, "Can I provoke you instead?" Shameless
Yes.
little flirt.
Yes. Yes, yes, you can. Provoke me in any way you want.
Provoke me, poke me, touch me, tease me,
Do
kiss me, squeeze me, give it to you just how you like it, girl.
But the silly mood is abruptly ended when Amryn bursts through the doors and says she received word from Highburn. They had made their move. They just attacked the Summer Court, or they are in the process of attacking the Summer Court.
Wild.
Chapter 35. Highburn has finally made its first real move besides attacking the Night Court. Cassian wants to know if they had called in for aid. Amryn doesn't know. All the message said was that they were under attack and to prepare their own defenses. They talk about the Summer Court's defenses. Half their troops were not in Adriata. They were overwhelmed. Rhys says they cannot leave the Summer Court without aid. They are going to go in and help them. They can't just not provide them assistance when they're all alone and their
Yeah.
troops aren't even all there to fight.
Yeah.
Rhys says the Darkbringers are not ready to go to war, but they would bring in the Illyrian troops.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're like, if we defend them now, they'll join our forces later.
Yeah, we need to show them that we want to be allies in this war.
Exactly. Yeah, especially after the blood rubies.
Yeah, we're still willing to bring in our troops and die and helping you.
Yeah.
Reese and Cassian went to the Illyrian troops to inform them that they would be going to the summer court. Azrael goes ahead to summer with his trusted spies to scout what was going on. Moore arrives heavily armed and ready to go with her armor on. Feyre was ready to go to battle in the summer court as well, but Nesta wants to know what she knows of battle. And Moore says, "We know plenty." This is the start of Nesta and Moore bickering.
Yep.
Amryn would stay and watch her sisters in the city. Feyre tells Nesta that they will send word when they can. Feyre got the signal from Reese saying that they had arrived and it was time for her and Moore to go. Moore tells Nesta it's nothing that they cannot handle. Moore winnows Feyre into the summer court. Reese and Cassian have already joined the fray and they're fighting. Reese had winnowed all in the troops. All of the Illyrian warriors that are there fighting, Reese had winnowed in, which is just friggin' wild,
Wild.
which would put a drain on his powers.
And here's my notable line for chapter 35, page 351. Alice. Alice had left the spring court fearing the hell I'd unleash there, only to come here, to this. I prayed she was not in the city proper, prayed she and her nephews were keeping safe.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish we saw
I
Alice, but I'm
know.
glad we
And
didn't.
we get no confirmation if she was okay.
I know, or even there.
Yeah, I know.
Well, we know she's there because she said she was going there, but
Yeah, I don't know.
so sad.
Feyre and Moore get their orders that they are going into the palace. Soldiers had reached their northern side and their defenses were being surrounded. Moore tells Feyre to do not stop and do not linger. She also says that it's okay if Feyre can't make the killing blow, but Feyre says she can. She already had when Valaris was under attack.
Mm-hmm.
They then arrive at the palace and see that the High Fae were barricading themselves into the higher parts of the castle, leaving the Lesser Fae defenseless and trapped at the bottom. Moore says that Hybern soldiers were 3 levels down and about 50 of them, an entire ship's worth. Screw those High Fae. I
I
can't.
know. They're so fucked up.
I know.
And they're also in the summer court where Tarquin was saying he wants the divide to be vanished, basically, between higher and lesser fairy.
Yeah. It's
And then you see this, it's like, do you really?
yeah.
Because it's your palace doing that.
It seems like a big divide in the summer court compared to the other courts that we've seen. Obviously, we don't have much
Yeah.
information on it, but it's definitely, I feel like, more in your face in the summer court than we've seen
Yeah.
in
Or it's
spring or the
almost,
night.
yeah, it's almost like his court wants to say, oh, yeah, you think we're going to all be the same? Hell no.
Mhm.
Maybe when we kill them off.
Yeah, crazy.
Crazy.
Chapter 36. Feyre and Moore make their way through the palace, killing Hybern soldiers left and right. Moore by just beheading them, but Feyre was using her magic to set them on fire or drown them.
Yes, and this is actually my notable line for chapter 36, page 355. Moore slid me a sidelong glance. Remind me not to get on your bad side.
Literally.
I agree with Moore in this situation.
Yeah, for sure.
Would not want to be set on fire or drowned.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Just cut my head off.
Yeah. They found a room full of fairies who were being killed and tortured in unimaginable ways. Feyre and Moore killed the ones just simply killing, but the ones who lingered, they tortured and killed slowly, leaving a few alive for the summer court fairies to kill. So basically, if you're just coming in and killing the lesser fairies in your Hybern, like, okay, whatever, they're killing them quick. But if they were like torturing them or doing other unimaginable things to them, Feyre made sure they had a long, slow death, or as slow as she could make
Yeah.
it in these circumstances.
Yeah. Good. Fuck them. They should be tortured before they die an easy death.
Yeah, and I love that she leaves them weapons so that the rest of the lesser fairies can kill the rest of the
Can kill
Hybern
them.
soldiers. Yeah.
Yeah. Gotta get their revenge.
After this, Feyre and Moore make their way to the bottom where the summer court soldiers were overwhelmed and Hybern was taking over. So Feyre then, like Amanda said, sent out night and darkness and blinded them, and her and Moore took all of them down to the shock of the summer court. They then made it onto the streets of Adriata because, of course, our 2 badass bitches take on the palace in like 2.5 seconds. And they make it to the streets of Adriata where they continue to kill every Hybern soldier they saw. Wild. Feyre starts looking for Reese. His shields were pretty solid, but when she touched them, he let her in before closing her inside of his head, which is so scary, but
I
he
know.
did let her in.
Yeah, because her body is just, like, flailing along in the middle of war.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, yes, Moore is there, but what is she doing? Just standing I just imagine her standing in the middle of the street like this.
Yeah. I imagine her, like, smacking Feyre, like,
No!
"Hello, wake up."
And she's just like,
Shaking the shit out of her.
yeah. It's just
And Feyre's like
yeah. Oh, Feyre notices that his powers had been dampened by some spell. He was following that sense of it to the source. He should have landed in Highburn when they arrived at this battle and wiped them all out, but he couldn't. That's why this battle was still lasting. On the deck, after he killed the Highburn soldiers, came the King of Highburn smiling at Rhys. But also F Rhys for freaking following that source of power by himself
I know.
without backup.
The king is learning from this too. He's going to use this in the future against you, that you
Mm-hmm.
literally chase something by yourself.
Yep.
That's just going to lead you right into a trap. And now he knows he can do that to you.
Yep. Chapter 37, the interaction with the king. Rhys taunts the king, glad to see you're still not fighting your own battles. The king was wondering who was going to show up to seek out the spell he had out, dampening their power. So he was wondering who was going to show up on this boat. And like you said,
Mhm.
he's learning from this.
Yeah.
Rhys tells Feyre in his mind that if he was smart, he would capture the king and have Azriel torture him and use him as an example of why no one should try and take down the wall. Feyre just wants Rhys to kill him and have this war be over with before it starts. Rhys is just trying to see what the spell and power was before he does anything because it could be a trap. So Rhys is still being cautious because he realizes
Mhm.
that this could be another trap, but also goes alone. Like, I know Azriel and Cassian are also busy at the moment defending the city and with their troops, but he could have requested Moore and Feyre to come as his backup because they were
Yeah.
making their way down through the city.
Or at least given a heads up, like, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah, not just trap Feyre inside your mind to watch it happen.
Yeah.
So she can just get stabbed by a random Highburn soldier in the middle of the street.
Literally.
Like I said earlier, he went to take on this source of power by himself. Like an idiot. The king tries to taunt him about Amarantha because it's literally the only thing anyone ever tortures him about. It's like, get
Yeah.
over it. He was
I
sexually
know.
assaulted for literally 50 years. He didn't want to be fucking Amarantha. Drop it already. The king is very interested in Feyre and the power she has and everything she has done with them. The mention of Tamlin and after what Feyre did, he was now able to put more troops in the Springcourt lands.
Yes, and this is my notable line for chapter 37, page 363. It will take everything you know to try to stop me. Everything you have, and it still won't be enough. And when you have given everything and you are dead, Rhysand, when your mate is mourning over your corpse, I'm going to take her. Oh, those are fighting words.
It is. But Rhys says Feyre has defeated Amarantha, the Ator, so she could take him on too. He's like, bring it, you
Mhm.
little bitch.
Yep. Fuck around and find out.
Literally. Feyre wants Rhys to either strike or flee. She's like, enough is enough. Like, either get over, like, get on with this or get out.
Yeah.
The king says, though, that the spell that he put on will wear off. The king talks about how there was room at the table for everyone after the first war, but they looked down on the loyalists and he wasn't going to allow his people to suffer again. So he just cannot see it any other way. He
But, like,
just,
what is suffering? Not having slaves?
yeah, and not having, I guess, the land that I think Highburn is still Highburn, but maybe the, I don't know, chance to expand his
Yeah.
territory.
Yeah, because he's the only one hurting his people, if you ask me. He stopped
Yeah.
all the trades. He is fucking filling their heads with all this bullshit.
Yeah.
He's making them go to war, all because he wants slaves and land.
Yeah.
Wild.
He's delusional. A little
Yeah.
delulu.
Yeah.
Rhys struck out at the king, but the king was just an illusion. He wasn't even there, just giving them an appetite of what was to come.
Mm.
When the king was gone, so was the spell, and Rhys missed the rest of the Highburn fleet. Chapter 38. Moore pulls Feyre back to the present and back to her own body. literally by shaking her. Feyre! Rhys said that she should not have been in his head for this long. It's like, well, you trapped her in there. Like, what?
Yeah, like she can't go back through your shield unless you let her out.
Yeah. Feyre then threw up over and over again after the battle was over and everything she had seen and done.
Yes, and this is actually my notable line for chapter 38, page 368. War would linger with me long after it had ended, some invisible scar that would perhaps fade but never wholly vanish. But for my home, for Prithian and the human territory, and so many others, I would clean my blades and wash the blood from my skin, and I would do it again and again and again. So
Yeah.
noble of her.
So noble. Indeed.
Indeed.
She didn't want to see Rhys right now, just with how she was feeling about herself. So even though she has this noble outlook, she's just feeling pretty crummy and she doesn't want Rhys to see her like that. But I think she needs him because when she
Yeah.
feels like this, she needs to lean on him. They need to lean on
Yeah.
each other.
He
Your
needs to
camera's
hold her hair.
yeah. Back at the Summer Court Palace, the wounded are now being tended to. Varian is there, and when he spots them, he was too exhausted to deal with them. He tells Feyre and Moore he's in the dining room. At first, Feyre thought he meant Rhys, but when they arrived, it was really Tarquin who was standing there. He was not very happy to see her or them, even after their assistance. Tarquin thought Feyre had come to finish the job. When he had heard Tamlin had taken her, then the spring court fell and people revolted. When the Illyrian soldiers flew in, he thought they had come to finish what Hybern had started, which is so crazy. Like, yes, they took half of the Book of Breathings from
Yeah.
you, but it's just crazy. After Rhysand saved your life under the mountain, you think that they're coming in now with Hybern to destroy you?
Yeah. Well, I think he's also kind of poisoned from not knowing the whole situation of Feyre in the spring court
Yeah. Yeah.
because she
But
took them down, but because they were with Hybern.
yeah, but he knew Feyre's real story. She said what Tamlin did to her of locking her in the house and that she left of her own accord. But Moore says they would never align with Hybern. Tarquin will only talk to Feyre though and wants to know why. Feyre wasn't sure if he was asking why she had stolen from him or why she came to help, but she replied, our dreams are the same. Rhysand enters the chat and says, me and my mate had our reasons. When Tarquin's like, but you stole from me. He just
Yeah.
cannot get past this.
Yeah.
Tarquin seems surprised that they are mates. And Rhysand's like, wasn't it obvious last time we were here? Like, open your eyes,
Literally.
bro.
She was kind of flirting with Tarquin, though, and leading him on a little, and he was flirting with Cressida, so.
Yeah, I guess. But still. Maybe
Although
not from
Feyre didn't know at that point either, so.
yeah, but maybe from Feyre's actions you wouldn't know, but I think watching Rhys, the way he like monitors Feyre's every breath that comes out
Yeah.
of her mouth, you should know.
Yeah.
Tarquin is blaming Feyre for the Hybern attack today. If she hadn't have brought down the spring court, she basically left the door open for Hybern to dock in the spring court harbors. But I don't think they realize at this point that Hybern was already going. Hybern was
Yeah.
already going to be there because of Tamlin's deal.
Exactly. That's what I'm
And
saying. He has a warped reality of what really happened in this moment
I know,
in
I don't
Spring Court.
why she just doesn't explain herself here, but I guess it's just not worth the breath. But
Yeah.
a heated exchange continues. Rhys said, we didn't do this. This was Hybern's actions. They would stay in the hills to make sure everything was okay. Tarquin's like, are you going to steal anything from me this time? So annoying.
Like, be fucking thankful, bro. Your
Yeah, like
whole
we
court would
just
have just
saved
died.
your court. Yeah. Feyre says, tend to your wounded, and that they were at his disposal. Tarquin snaps that he cannot tell her what to do and warns Rhysand that she should be careful when trying to give High Lord's orders. Rhys is so nonchalant. He was like, well, as High Lady of the Night Court, she can say and do whatever she wants.
That's fucking right. Stupid Tarquin.
Everyone in the room that is a part of the summer court is in shock. They are shook by this announcement.
Mm-hmm.
Tarquin says how Rhys does always love to spit on tradition. And Rhys just comes up to Feyre, kisses her temple, and they vanish.
Well, tradition sucks, and women should be ruling, so fuck your tradition.
Power moves. Chapter 39. Feyre was tending to the wounded and helping where she could in the hills above Adriata. Hybern had sailed back over the seas. They were not hanging out in the spring court. Everyone had a role to play in this. Rhys was keeping calm, but she didn't know how to be, so she put herself to work. Cleaning out bowls, getting fresh water, holding down the wounded when they were being mended. Feyre worked herself so hard that she ended up passing out face first into a
Mhm.
puddle of mud. Our girl doesn't know how to sit still or
I
take care
know.
of
She knows
herself.
how to take care of others, but not herself.
Yeah, this was her first real battle. And yes, she fought in the attack on Valoris, but it was an attack. This was like a full blown battle. She used a
Yeah.
lot of strength, a lot of power today, and she needed to
Yeah.
rest her
But
body.
she is like Rhysand, that's why they're mates. They just keep going for everybody else,
Yeah.
and themselves is their last thought.
Yeah. Feyre wakes up and she's in a tent with Rhys. He told her she'd been passed out for 3 hours.
3 hours? That's nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
A
That's like
little
a normal
nappy.
nap for us after work. Rhysand said that the king came here today to taunt him. When he attacked Valoris in the library, he knew how much it meant to Rhys. Feyre said that Rhys was not going to die in this war. Feyre says that they need allies. They need to know what the king's weaknesses
Mhm.
are. And she also tells him that she loves him. She's like, listen, we need to keep thinking strategically about this. We can't just let this get to us. We can't keep blaming ourselves. You can't keep blaming yourself.
Yeah.
We need a plan. We need allies. We need to find out what his weaknesses are. And we just need to keep fighting this
Yeah.
war. Rhys said that when they were in the summer court the last time, it was the first time he began to hope that he would hear those words from her, saying that she loved him.
Aww.
I
Even though he was flirting with
know.
Crusader and she was pissed.
I think that was a little test from Reese.
Yeah. And here's my notable line for chapter 39, page 377. I think the time has come for us to remove the masks, to stop playing the part. Valeris is no longer secret. The king knows too much about us, who we are, what we are. And if we are to ally with the other High Lords, I think they need the truth. They will need the truth in order to trust us. The truth about who you really are, who Mor and Cassian and Azriel really are. Look how poorly things went with Tarquin today. We can't let it continue like this. So no more masks, no more roles to play. We go as ourselves, as a family.
Love that speech.
Aw. Me too.
Yes, they need to stand together precisely as they are. They will show them the court of dreams, but they will keep Feyre's powers, besides her night court powers, away from the other High Lords, as they don't know if that may tip them into Hybern's favor. They talk again about Miriam and Draken and how they still don't know where they are. They
They're
keep
coming.
talking about them, and it's like, okay, like there's nothing new. If there was something new, he would tell. Maybe he wouldn't tell her, so maybe it's good that she keeps bringing it up.
Yeah, that's true. You hope that he
You
would
would
tell her,
hope,
but
yeah. Reese never thought about coming up with an idea of how to communicate with each other, meaning between Miriam, Draken, and himself, but they wanted to be forgotten. And after everything that happened, Reese didn't want to take that away from them, which that's just so unfair. Why do you get
yeah,
to go live happily ever after and be forgotten, and then everything falls on Reese? Because clearly he's the only one that gives a shit when this war is happening.
I
Why
know.
aren't the other High Lords concerned that Hybern could be taking over their lands, especially after the summer court happens? We have this High Lord meeting coming up, and you would think after the attack on the summer court, they would want to band together to stop evil. But no, we need to argue and bicker and be stupid. It's like, why is Rhysand
Yeah,
the only one thinking clearly here? I
I
just don't
know.
understand.
Well, they think that they're involved with Hybern
Yeah.
too, which is wild to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
But not fucking Tamlin.
Yeah. Stupid.
Wild.
Feyre says if they found them and Queen Vassa and everyone, will it be enough? This is like another time she's asking him, will, if we do all of this, be enough? And Reese is like, it will have to be, which is
Yeah.
not promising.
No. They're like, we're barely going to get out by the skin of our teeth if we
Yeah.
do.
They then need a release after everything that happened in the battle, and they need to be close to each other. Though getting a little dirty while being dirty and hearing the sounds of the dying around me does not seem like an ideal time to jump on Reese, and I always think it's a good idea to do that.
Yeah. A little morbid there, but
Yeah.
Sometimes you need the D, I
If you
guess.
need it, you need it.
Gotta get that vitamin D.
Cassian went off the next day to tell the families of the fallen about what had occurred. Azrael went off with his spies to see what was going on in Highburn now and fly the Illyrian legions to the southern border with Cassian. Feyre and Mora winnow back to the townhouse. Nesta immediately jumps up when they get back and asks what happened. Rhys informs them that they won the battle and that the royal family of the Summer Court is intact. Nesta wants to know where Cassian is, and this is where Mor and Nesta have their heated exchange.
Ooh.
Rhys gives Mor orders to get her out of the townhouse. He wants the High Lord meeting moved to 3 days from now, and he doesn't care about the location, just to pick it and get it done. Because Mor is snapping at Nesta. She's like, and don't you give any like snark to him when you see him, and like so annoying. Nesta then goes back to continuing her lessons with Amryn, and they've now moved on to history lessons. Amryn says to Nesta, do not worry about Cassian. He is the general for a reason, and he needs to visit the families of the fallen. And Nesta's like, I don't care. Which
But
she
she
cares
does.
so much.
Yeah, she cares.
Feyre then says to Rhys, winnow me to the prison right now. And without a question, he does. And she says this through the bond, not out loud. Which brings us to chapter 40. We're going to see the bone carver again, which I think is a pointless visit because they have to hike
Yeah.
6 hours back and 6 hours down just to go see him.
Yeah. Why can't they winnow?
You can't winnow into the prison. You have to climb the mountain.
You can't winnow to the top of the mountain?
No, apparently not.
That sucks.
Yeah.
But also, they don't even have the mirror. But,
Yeah.
you know, Feyre's just in her badass mood right now. And she's like, he's going to listen to me.
Like they're not exhausted enough after fighting a freaking battle. Let's go hike to see the bone carver. So they go on their impromptu business trip to see the bone carver to see if he will accept anything else but the mirror. The bone carver gestures to himself and says, maybe your firstborn child. Rhys now knows who Feyre sees in the small boy is their child, not just some random kid. But, of course, as we knew, the bone carver will not accept anything else but his mirror to the world. And then she shows Rhys what their kid will look like. I feel like this whole scene was just to show Rhys what their kid looks like, but she could have just told him at home. She could have told him after she figured it out when she was there with Cassian. I feel like this was such a pointless trip to the bone carver. It was literally just to show Rhys, and we could have done that in another way.
Yeah.
But back at the townhouse, Nesta and Amryn are still studying. They find Elaine working with the two handmaidens making bread, and she smiles faintly at Feyre. Rhys and Feyre then have lunch in their room.
Yes, and this is my notable line for chapter 40, page 387. Rhys winnowed Feyre up to their bedroom where 2 plates of food were waiting. He said, I owe you for last night, mate. He gave me the courtesy, at least, of letting me pick which he consumed first, me or the food. And I picked wisely. Ooh, I think she picked her first.
Oh, I would pick me first. I'd throw myself backwards onto the bed.
I mean, she could eat while he ate her.
She could do both at the
That's
same
probably
time.
What I would do.
Like, ooh, this is delicious. Ooh, keep going.
Yeah.
The next morning, Nesta was at the dining table, because that's just where she lives now, waiting for not Feyre, but Cassian. He was still in the mountains, though, and if Nesta was going to ask Feyre where he was, she was not going to tell her.
Yeah.
Stubborn.
Does she sleep? She never sleeps either, that one.
No one's sleeping. Nesta does ask, though, if Feyre is going to the meeting in 2 days. And Nesta also asks Feyre why she went into battle without a second thought. Feyre says, because I had to. People needed help. Nesta doesn't answer, so Feyre goes to the House of Wind for her flying lessons with Az. Which brings us to chapter 41. Preparation for the High Lord's meeting has begun. They had all agreed to move the date, but they still had not agreed upon a place with all the back and forth messages. Baron had finally joined the chat, and now everyone but the Spring Court was confirmed to be coming. Everyone would be going to the meeting except Amryn and Nesta and Elaine. I don't know why we just leave Elaine out of this sentence.
They're like, "We already know she's not
Eh,
going because Nessa said she
yeah.
can't."
With hours to spare the night before the meeting, it was decided that the Dawn Court would be hosting the meeting.
Or wait, do they not want Elaine to go because Baron's there and Eris, and they know that that's Lucian's mate?
I don't
How do they know that?
that they know that's Lucian's mate.
Yeah, how do they know that? Because they make a comment about it.
Yeah,
I don't know how they know that
that's a
though.
great that's a great question. I don't know. I think if
Later.
maybe it was just like gossip from the spring court. I don't know. Because they
True,
knew
yeah.
Feyre left and they thought she ran away with Lucian. So obviously, word travels to some places.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
Nesta and Amryn were practicing, saying she was so close to cracking what needed to be done. But Amryn leaves the townhouse saying she was going to go read the book until her eyes were bleeding. And Feyre didn't know if she was for real because the book is so crazy. But all Amryn does is read the book and sometimes help in battles. And why didn't they bring Amryn to this
Yeah,
battle at the Summer Court? It would
I
have been
know.
over so fast.
She's the one that got the warning with Varian. I'm surprised she didn't want
I
to
know.
go.
I'm surprised she didn't go either.
Maybe they're like, well, she can't die right now because we fucking need her to crack the code in the book. So she got to stay
Yeah, I
back.
know she's like doing other things, but like she didn't go to Highburn. She doesn't go anytime they go to do anything.
Megan, is she the traitor?
Oh my god. No.
Megan. Okay.
I can't see it being Amryn. No. Because she was in the city. She was in the city when Valaris was attacked and she was fighting.
Yeah.
No, she's not the traitor.
So she's only in one battle and you're convinced?
It just doesn't make sense. Like it doesn't line up to be her.
Yeah.
If it is,
It's true.
then shit, but I don't think so. The day of the meeting, everyone was prepared to leave. Feyre was wearing her dress from Starfall, and Cassian attempts to give Feyre a compliment.
Yes, and this is actually my notable line for chapter 41, page 392. Official, Cassian said, with an incredulous look in her direction. He waved a siphon-topped hand to me. Fancy. Over 500 years old, Moore said, shaking her head sadly, a skilled warrior and general, famous throughout territories, and complimenting ladies is still something he finds next to impossible. Remind me when we bring you on diplomatic meetings?
Literally, though. So crazy.
Way to knock him down a peg or two.
Seriously, I know. Azriel makes a sexy comment that he doesn't need to resort to poetry. Swoon?
Okay.
What? What does he do? What does he do?
Hopefully, we fuck around and find
Yeah,
out.
I want to fuck around and find out. Feyre talks about the night before while we're all waiting for Rhysand to come down the stairs about how her and Rhys went to go see the family jewels and the House of Wind. And she let the crown choose her that she was wearing. Rhys came down the stairs with his wings out, but in his usual attire. He was knight triumphant, and she was the stars eternal, the perfect pair.
Aww.
Her crown was swirling stars in different phases of the moon. I love that.
Me
Nesta
too.
entered the room, and she was dressed in a beautiful blue gown. Cassian gave her a once-over, but neither of them said anything to each other. She also tells Feyre she looks beautiful. Moore says, that Cassian is what you were attempting to say. Feyre wants to know why Nesta is so dressed up, and she's like, well, I'm going with you. Surprise!
Wild. Nesta, okay, stepping up to the plate. I like to see it.
Exactly. Chapter 42. Nesta is attending the High Lord's meeting. She said she would not be seen as a coward and feels like nobody would think that of you, Nesta. But Nesta said she would think of herself as a coward if she did not go. Nesta said a day or two delay in her training wouldn't make a difference. In this way, it would give Amryn the time to decode the spell that they would need. Nesta said that Feyre went into battle for a court that doesn't even really consider them a friend because people needed help. Nesta wants to help, especially the humans, because who else does? Like, who else will help them? She will.
Yeah.
Rhys says now that Feyre is High Lady of the Night Court, the spot as human emissary was now open. And Nesta says that the meeting will be her trial and see if she will accept the position. Cassian finally approaches Nesta. The tension between them is just so delicious.
I can't wait till they get together. It's going to be so
Right.
great.
He growls out, a hello, Nesta. Like, what do you think that sounds like? Hello, Nesta. I can't even.
I knew you were gonna ask me.
Hello. I can't make my voice deep. Hello, Nesta.
Hello, Nesta.
No.
Ooh, that was like Tamlin
Yeah.
Wolfie.
Hello, Nesta.
Hello.
But he
Hello,
growls it
Nesta.
out like a like a
Like this. Hello, Nesta. Or like this. Hello, Nesta.
in a very deep baritone voice.
Yeah. Hello, Nesta. It sounds like Forrest
I know.
Gump.
I don't think that's what you sounded like. Oh,
Okay. We know he growling.
we know he be sexy growling at her.
Yeah.
Cassian won't even look or let Mort touch him during this interaction with Nesta. Nesta says to him, "You didn't." But she stops herself. They're making deep eye contact here. Cassian finally interlaces their fingers and wraps a wing around her and reaches back for more. He says next time, emissary, I'll come say hello.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
Holds her hand and everything.
not just like holds her hand, like
No,
interlaces their
like.
fingers.
Mm-hmm.
I can see it like so sexy and slow how he interlaces their fingers.
And he's growling.
Hello, Nesta. And like I just imagine all of them having like Scottish or like British accents.
Yes.
They arrive at the Dawn Court, so they all winnow in. And everyone seems to be in awe of this palace. Moore even wants Reese to redecorate their own palace.
Yes, and this is my notable line for chapter 42, page 401. Rhysand asks Feyre, and do you think I need to redecorate our home? It's not a competition. Well, even if Thesan has a prettier palace, I am the only one blessed with a high lady at my side. I couldn't help my blush, especially as Rhys added, tonight, I want you to wear that crown to bed. Only the crown. Scoundrel, she says. Always. I've been using the word scoundrel all week,
I
by the way,
know.
because of this
You
line.
literally said that on the phone the other day. You're like, scoundrel. I was like,
Yeah.
scoundrel, like
Little
from the book.
scoundrel.
So funny. We know that Winter and Day were already at the meeting besides Dawn, who was their host, who is obviously there. And Reese wants to make sure everyone has their shields up, and he even put a shield around all of them, even though there was a no fighting policy. Extra protection. Feyre tells Reese that she sees all of him and that she loves him before they step into this meeting. And he tells her back, "You bow to no one."
That's right. High lady. Well, do other high lords don't bow to other high lords?
Right, but they don't know that
Right?
she's a high lady yet, so.
Oh, okay. They're about to find
Yeah.
out.
Chapter 43, the start of the High Lords meeting. Here we go.
Here we
They
go.
enter the chamber where the other three High Lords and their entourages were gathered. Thesan was the first to approach them as host of the meeting, even though Rhysand had all called them to meet. Feyre does not bow to Thesan, even as the rest of their group does. Thesan then notices the tattoo on her arm. The other High Lords now approach. Callias, the High Lord of the Winter Court, is weird AF with Rhys, but Moore is squawking when she sees Vivian, as they had not seen each other in a long time. We find out that Callias and Vivian got married and they were also mates, like Amanda told us this right earlier. So cute.
Yes, I love that story.
Helion then approached, and all the others seemed to be wary of him and watching him. The High Lord of the Day Court wants to know if Tamlin knows what Feyre was. They all then find out that she is not only Rhysand's mate, but she was also High Lady of the Night Court. Vivian wants to be a High Lady as well. She's like, what the heck?
Yes. Feyre starting trends, baby.
Yeah. Helion then turns his attention to Nesta. When he asked who made her, Nesta responds with, Hybern did, which just cracked me up. They're there to talk about fighting Hybern, and it's like, who created you? And she's like, Hybern did.
Yeah.
Feyre explains that Ianthe and Tamlin sold her family out to Hybern, and now both of her sisters were High Fae. Helion
Yep.
said that this is a heavy accusation to make, especially of her former lover. And Feyre's like, well, we were all witnesses to it, and now we're all here to do something about Hybern. The other High Lords arrive. Helion was watching Nesta and Feyre like a hawk. He's just like monitoring them all. And there's just some chit chat going around the room. An hour goes by when Tarquin finally arrives with his group. Helion is for sure a little shit stirrer. He says, I heard about the blood rubies. That's a story I want to know. Like,
Yeah.
what? Such a dick.
Such a dick.
The summer court walks into the room and they clock Cassian right away.
Yes. And this is my notable line for chapter 43, page 412. I wrecked one building, Cassian had once said of his last visit to the summer court, where he was now banned. Apparently, even assisting them in battle hadn't lifted it. Which is funny because they even lift the blood rubies after this and they still fucking hate Cassian.
Yeah. It was one time. He's like such a bro.
One building.
Yeah. Tarquin is ignoring their group as they take their seats, and Thiessen gets word that Baron has arrived. All of his sons, besides Lucian, are there. His wife is also there, and they arrive at the meeting. The Lady of the Autumn Court scans the room for Lucian, but she settles her look on Helion, who gives her a mocking bow, and she averts her gaze.
What's up with Helion?
He's a shit stirrer, so who knows?
Interessante.
Some snarky words pass between Rhys and Baron, and all the cheers were filled. And Thiessen turns to Rhys, saying he called this meeting, why the urgency? Rhys literally blinks. Like, I can just see him like,
Yeah.
Wha-
Like, are you fucking dumb?
what do you mean? He's so puzzled by this. He's like, we have been attacked by Hybern, like multiple times. What do you mean, why the urgency?
Yeah.
Helion is like, so what? You want to raise a unified army? Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
Helion. Yes, we do.
That's exactly what we want to do.
Indeed.
Indeed. But before Rhys could really respond, Tamlin winnows straight into the meeting.
Yeah, with his wolfy smile.
Doesn't
on.
even get like announced and just fucking whoop winnows right in.
By himself because nobody likes him.
And he has
Everybody left his
nobody
court.
to stand behind him anymore.
Nope.
Which brings us to chapter 44. Tamlin, what the fuck?
What the fuck?
He is just staring at Feyre like a freaking weirdo. Thiessen is like, we weren't expecting you, Tam Tam. Baron says, I'm surprised to see you, Tamlin. I heard your allegiance lies elsewhere these days. But Tamlin just keeps on staring at Feyre, to the ring on her finger, to the tattoo on her right arm, and the crown on top of her head. Helion is like, okay, this is mad awkward. Can we just continue this conversation now? But Tam Tam is about to do the biggest gaslighting, manipulating, bullshitting there is, starting with, I hear congratulations are in order. I can just see Helion be like, ugh, like throwing his hands up in the air, like, here we go. Here the fuck we go.
Literally.
Thiessen doesn't seem to want to speak about the Hybern matter in front of Tamlin, but Tammy is like, please, don't stop on my account. Rhys says he isn't in the business of talking with his enemies, and Tamlin's like, no, you're just in the business of fucking them.
And here's my notable line for chapter 44, page 417. Tamlin says, if you hadn't stolen my bride away in the night, Rhys-Anne, I would not have been forced to take such drastic measures to get her back. Feyre said quietly, the sun was shining when I left you. Ooh. Rhys-Anne didn't take her, you dummy. She left.
Yeah.
Because you're a psycho.
Yeah. Callias wants to know why Tamlin is there. And Tamlin said he had bartered his lands to get back the woman he loves, but he always meant to find a way around the bargain and fight Hybern. But Rhys messed with Feyre's mind, and then she destroyed his lands, making it oh so easy for Hybern to invade. Rhys isn't having it. He's like, you cannot rewrite history. And Tamlin's like, when you fuck her, have you ever noticed the tiny sound she makes right before she climaxes?
Fucking kidding me.
Yeah.
How did Rhys not kill him right there and then? Because I would have.
Yeah. I have no idea.
I would have been like, shut the fuck up, head off.
Well, Feyre does...
Brain smush.
Yeah. Feyre does start to say that Rhys looks at her and then she can feel his darkness, but it's Azriel who speaks up and says, be careful how you speak about my high lady.
Ooh. As real.
Yes.
As he as.
Tamlin is such an asshole. He's all, because I said you couldn't be high lady, you had to destroy my lands. Why serve in my court when you can rule in his? And he's looking at the group saying, we would fight Hybern maybe just to find ourselves with the king and queen of Perithian. And Rhys lets out a dark laugh. He says, well played, Tamlin. You're learning. He's like, I taught you these tricks. You learned
Yeah.
from me. And they're here to be unified. And Tamlin's sitting there trying to tear them apart, which we'll get to later.
Yeah. Kind of a little sketchy, even though we already know he's got to deal with Hybern.
Yeah.
Even if he plans on fulfilling it or not, Hybern will make sure he does, I'm sure.
Yeah. Tamlin then turns to Callias, who wants to know why he's there after everything that happened under the mountain. Why would Callias want to align himself with Rhys? And Vivian kind of says, well, we're here to decide for ourselves. And
Yeah.
this is when Rhys explains himself to Callias, finally addressing what happened under the mountain. Like Amanda said earlier, what actually happened to those young high fae children who were slaughtered by Amarantha. And I don't want to go over that story again because Amanda already so nicely explained it. Or not,
Thank you.
sadly explained it.
Yes.
Faye returns to Rhys and she says, I believe you, when he says that he tried to stop it from happening. But Baron is like, why would we believe you when you gave another girl's name instead of your own? Like, you're just as much as a bullshitter as Rhysand is. Tamlin then says, this is all just stories. Is there any proof? And Cassian does not like this response. But Callias seems to believe Rhysand's story and turns back to Tamlin and questions why Tamlin is there. Him and Rhys just have a bro moment. They're just like staring at each other, and he sees the understanding or whatever he sees in Rhysand and turns his attention back to Tamlin. And is like, why are you here, dude? Like, you're just causing a mess at this point.
Yeah.
Tamlin says he's come to help against Hybern. And he says that he once told Feyre that he would fight against tyranny, and if Feyre thought she would be enough to turn him against that, well, then she was basically crazy. He then again brought up Feyre whoring for Rhysand when Rhysand was a whore for Amarantha. I just don't understand. Okay, you're saying you're here to fight against Hybern, but now you're just bringing up stupid shit again. Like, stop bringing up Feyre and Rhysand. Stop bringing up Amarantha. Has nothing to do with the situation that they're in.
Yeah. He just can't let it go. Let it fucking go, bro. They're already married.
Yeah, just stop. The other High Lords have had enough of this. Tamlin then shows them charts of Hybern's armies, ammunition, and the Faebane that they have, because they're like, enough, dude. Like, if you're here to help, prove that you're here to help, because you're the one that has the alliance with Hybern at this time. This is when Thesan is also like, Tamlin, you're doing a very good job of showing why we should not band together, which just makes him look more like an ally of Hybern than Rhysand.
Yeah.
But Tamlin just cannot stop himself. He keeps bringing up Amarantha and how it only seemed like Rhysand had turned against her when the tides were turning, how he claimed that his city was attacked. How did they know the Summer Court was under attack before any of them? He can't just drop it. I just don't understand. He's like, I'm here to help, and then just won't shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Varian speaks up now and is like, because I warned them. Tamlin again cannot drop or shut his mouth. He's like, well, maybe you're working with the Night Court too, since you're next in line.
Oh my god.
Feyre calls Tamlin insane. She's like, you're a bitch of a priestess, sold out my family. And Tamlin's like, well, Rhysand could have turned her mind too. Like, what?
Like, yeah, Rhysand's just like a puppet master.
Yeah. Nesta's like, you should only be blaming yourself for this mess. And Tamlin growls at her, which Cassian is like, watch it. Which just fuels Tamlin even more, saying it looks like this also runs in the family who the sisters like to fuck.
I mean, he ain't lying, but...
Yeah. Feyre
he's just jealous.
Yeah. He's just on a roll. He just like cannot stop. He has like word vomit.
Yeah.
This whole chapter is just Tamlin having a freaking hissy fit.
Literally.
Has nothing to do with the war with Hybern.
Yeah.
Feyre has had enough. She's like, what do you want? An apology? For me to crawl back and play nice little wife? And he's like, I don't want spoiled goods. He was like, when you let him fuck you, like, we don't get to hear what it was like because Rhysand takes away his ability to speak, which I wish he had done literally 5 minutes ago.
I know. I didn't know he could do that, though. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a powerful man. We knew it, but
he just like pinched the part of his brain that knows how to speak.
Yeah, he's like, enough. And I think he also needed to remind those other High Lords who exactly they were dealing with.
Yeah.
Tamlin struggled against Rhysand's power trying to break through, but he could not. And like I said, he was just reminding all the other High Lords who they were dealing with, and he is the most powerful one of them in there. Even though I
That's
think
right.
Feyre could be the most powerful, but still, Rhysand is pretty freaking powerful.
Yeah.
Which brings us to our last chapter of this section, chapter
Yes.
45. We have gotten absolutely nowhere in this meeting because Tamlin is a little bitch.
Yep. A little crybaby.
Rhysand is like, well, as you can see, I wouldn't be wasting any time here doing this song and dance. I would have just sliced through all of your minds to make you do my bidding.
True.
Literally, like, why are we all here if I could have
Just like
just
he
made
did
you
to
little
give.
puppets?
Yeah. Just like he did to give Feyre all her powers.
Yeah. So stupid. Tarquin says that the Night Court was the only ones who had come to help them, and why. And Rhysand says that's what friends do. Tarquin then rescinds the blood rubies. Cassina says, good luck getting that ruby back from Aaron, which Varian seems to approve of very much. He's like, that's
He's like, my girl better keep that.
my girl.
Yeah.
Rhysand says war is upon them and he does not want to waste any energy arguing amongst themselves. So he's like, can you just shut your mouth now, Tamlin? Or he doesn't have an option at this point, but
I'll shut it for you.
yeah. And then he does say, Rhysand does say to Tamlin, I believe you, that I do believe that you will help fight against Hybern in this war, which I think is very wild. I think it's just like so big of him to say this because obviously Tamlin came in here throwing a hissy fit and tried to throw all this shit at him. For Rhysand to look at him and be like, I believe you, it just is, I think, really solidifies to the group that they're here to get shit done and they aren't
Yeah.
working with Hybern or doing any shady shit.
And I think it's showing too that they need every ally they can get.
Yes.
All of them need, not just Rhysand, all of them need as many allies as they can get to defeat Hybern.
Yes, definitely. Baron is like, I'm glad you believe Tamlin, but we share a border with him, and the enemy is currently stationed there. Baron wants to talk to his son Lucian, but he's not there. Tamlin does look for him as well, but Feyre says he is protecting their lands. Which is so funny that Tamlin's now just looking to see if Lucian's there because he's so
I know.
self-absorbed. He doesn't even know if like his oldest friend is still there, is sitting in
I
the
know.
room.
Do you think that's the only reason why he went?
No,
To see if Lucian was going to be there?
no, I think he came there to throw a hissy fit.
True. Any excuse to see Feyre, honestly.
Yeah. Then, because Lucian is mentioned, Elaine gets brought up by Eris. And Mor snaps at him, and then Eris calls Mor a slut, basically. And Azriel jumps out of his chair, tackles Eris to the ground, putting up a shield so that no one could get through. There was a no physical brawling rule, but with his shadows, could he have hidden from the rule itself? And that's why he was able to break through, which is
Ooh, interesting.
such an interesting comment that when I read that again this time, I was like, oh, that's wild. There is a ward around for no physical fighting, but he was easily able to do this. So what
Yeah.
kind of other powers does Azriel have that we don't really know about how these shadows work?
Some Damati powers, maybe?
I don't know. Rhys is telling him to stop, but he looks to Feyre, who stands and puts her hand on Azriel's shield and says, come, Azriel. She wants him to come and sit beside her, and Mor is shaking. I just don't buy the act. I just don't. I get she went through something
Yeah.
traumatic and Eris just called her a slut, but nobody physically attacked Mor. I don't understand
I
why
know.
she's sitting there shaking. Just so confused by that.
Shaking in rage or shaking in fear?
I don't know. I feel like I read it as fear, but that just doesn't make sense. Rage would be, I feel like I could,
Yeah, because he
understand
just
that.
called you a slut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anywho, when Azriel goes to stand with Feyre, Baron blasts fire at them, bouncing off their shield around them. And Feyre says,
Yes, this is actually my notable line for chapter 45, page 429. Baron struck only for his fire to bounce off a hard barrier of my own. I lifted my gaze to the High Lord of Autumn. That's twice now we've handed you your asses. I think you'd be sick of the humiliation. They are my family. I don't care if we are allies in this war. If you insult my friend again, I won't stop him next time.
mic drop.
Yes. I know, I love that they're actually being able to see her in action as a high lady, and they're listening to her.
Yeah. Yep.
'Cause if she snaps her fingers, they're gonna fucking attack, so you better watch out.
Yeah, exactly. Eris actually apologizes to Moore because he knows he has an alliance on the line.
Yeah.
But I think he means it, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Baron wasn't too happy about that, though.
No, he was not happy that Eris apologized. Back to the actual war planning. Helion says if the charts and maps and info Tamlin gave were true, he would suggest two things. The first thing is that they needed to get rid of the Faebane that Hybern had. The Summer Court offers to be the ones who destroys for repayment to the Night Court for helping with the attack on Adriata.
Mhm.
The Dawn Court, though, has a plan. A master tinkerer has made an antidote for the Faebane. Like Amanda said earlier, they can ingest the powder and it will stop the Faebane from attacking their powers. It could potentially also stop the brunt of an attack of a Faeburn arrow or maybe like a spear coming at them from affecting them.
Yeah, I think that's a great first strategy,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah, for sure.
Because once they don't have their powers, they're nothing against Hybern
Yeah, like, I mean,
and his millions of freaking soldiers.
yeah, if the Summer Court wants to go attack the Fabian they have, good, but they could make more probably. So if
Yeah.
they all just ingest this, they'll be immune to it.
Mhm.
She got the samples from Lucian, who didn't tell them just in case it didn't work. Lucian can still be a little sneaky.
Yeah, but I also get that because if they were told that and then it didn't work, they would have gotten their hopes up.
I mean, I guess, but I think they're reasonable people that know that they're just trying to come up with solutions. Cassian says everything could be a bad idea, but we have to sort
Yeah.
through all of them to find the best one.
Yeah, and it also shows that Lucian has all these little links
Mm-hmm.
throughout.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Baron doesn't trust her because this female came from a place where they were loyalists in the war and it could be a trick, which Thiessen shoots down right away. And she does too. She's like, I was born here just like your sons were. And Thiessen's like, watch it. Most of my people, plus my mother, came from there.
Yeah.
Feyre says that she will take the antidote. Eris knows what the Faebane looked like because of Feyre and Lucian, so he also wants to take it, but Baron will not let him.
Dumb.
Tamlin
Okay, you be the ones without their powers then. At least it won't be Feyre and Rhysand.
Yeah. Tamlin is now being a little whiny baby again, saying he doesn't even have forces. He's trying to rebuild what Feyre tore down. And the villages that she wanted to help to rebuild were now in cinders again because of Hybern invading after she let his court fall. And Nesta's like, so you won't be taking the antidote then? Nesta reminding everyone to get back on track of what the actual
Yeah.
point is.
Literally.
Thiessen changes the subject back to the war planning, which brings us to Helion's second idea, is that the Spring Court needs to be evacuated. Autumn Court won't take them, and Baron tells this story about what Hybern did to the females and people back in the war, and about the Lady of the Autumn Court's sisters, which I feel like was just such a pointless story. Like, that's really sad that that happened to her sisters, but what does that have to do with you not taking in
Spring Court.
the Spring Court? I don't know.
Like, what does that have to do with anything?
Yeah. So
He just likes to hear himself talk.
yeah, like clearly he's like, I can't be outdone of being the whiniest one here.
Yeah.
Summer says that they will take in the Spring Court, and Tamlin looks grateful. And Baron's like, of course, the seasonal courts are going to have to take on people, but the solar courts remain untouched. Autumn, you literally just said you wouldn't take anyone, so shut up.
I know. You're a seasonal court, you idiot. You're not a solar court.
Yeah, and Reese is like, well, Hybern wants the South. They want nothing to do with the North. They want to head into the human lands. So that's nearest you, not nearest us. If they could take people in, they will. So shut up. Shut up.
Yeah, just shut the fuck up. Although they did attack the Night Court.
Yeah, they have been attacked already. They're not untouched.
But not only that, but they clearly don't just want the South because they're in the North.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Baron's just dumb.
Yeah.
Nesta tells them how the queens have sold themselves to Hybern for immortality and they probably will not stop them in the war or provide aid. Baron says he will not send soldiers to protect cattle with a land too small there is no army or a queen. Baron calls Feyre a coward after she calls him a coward for not giving up her name and having that entire family killed. Rhys steps in and says that Feyre does not need to explain herself. Baron says he has not yet decided if he will help in this war, and Eris looks at him in disbelief. And Cassian is like, it takes time to put together armies, and we don't have time. And Baron calls him a bastard. He's like, I'm not going to listen to a lesser Fey bastard like you. And Nesta speaks up again and says that bastard may be the only person who stands between Hybern and your people. Because at the end of the day, Cassian isn't going to take out his anger at Baron on the Autumn Court. He would stand there and protect them.
Yeah.
Feyre said,
While probably Baron sat on the sidelines and watched.
Yeah, his own people die. Feyre says they can get out if they are not going to be helpful. Baron taunts Feyre with Amarantha now. Like, again, bringing this bitch up. Tamlin already did it. The King of Hybern's done it. Now Baron's doing it. It's like, enough is enough. And I think she's just had enough. And he says that while Rhysand had his head in between Amarantha's legs, they had to fight to keep from their family being the nightly entertainment, which obviously does suck. But what Rhysand was doing was for a purpose, and he didn't want to be in between Amarantha's legs and fucking her.
Yeah. He was trying to save his people.
Yeah.
Just like you were trying to save your people.
Yeah.
So what is the difference?
Yeah. If he didn't fuck her, like she would have killed everybody.
Yeah. You should be happy he distracted her.
Yeah. And Callius would be dead. The Summer Court people would be dead. Probably more of your people would be dead. People were saved because of what he was doing and his fucking dick. So shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Now, he's like, now Rhysand wants to become hero, Amarantha's whore, the destroyer of Hybern. He's like, if it goes badly, will he get on his knees or just spread his? And he can't even finish the sentence because Feyre sees red and fire explodes out of her and hits Baron.
Wild.
And I'm sorry to do this to you guys, but I did split up the meeting and we're gonna have to finish what happens next time.
No.
Sorry.
All right. Wow. So Feyre reveals her fire power to Baron. I can't wait to see how that goes.
I know.
Wild. We gotta wrap this up so I can start reading the next section here. So before we end, I'm gonna go over my one prediction that I have for this section. You know, I'm off my prediction game these last few weeks, but this one I think is good.
Ooh, I'm scared. It's not written down, so I can't even see.
So I believe that Lucian will make it back with Vasa and a human army that she already has and agree to help them in the war.
That's a good prediction.
That's my prediction for this section.
You have all the faith in Lucian and you don't think he's going to fail.
No, he's too foxy and he's too good at talking to people. Tamlin said it before that basically his only relationships was because of Lucian. He has a relationship with the Dawn Court, the Tinkerer, Nuan. So I just think he's going to finagle and talk his way through this, and she's going to show up ready to fight on their side with a human army.
Yeah.
That's the prediction I'm going to make here.
All right. I'm excited to see.
Yes.
We'll find out.
Yes, we will. And that's all we have for you today. I can't wait to see the outcome of Feyre and Baron's battle and the meeting in general. We really hope you enjoyed this episode. Please let us know what you think by leaving us a review and comments on any of the platforms you are listening/watching on or on our social media pages. This helps tremendously to get the word out and lead more listeners to find our show and tune in.
Yes, don't forget to email, follow, subscribe, rate us 5 stars, and tell all your friends about us. We hope the rest of your day is blissful.
Bye! Thank you so much for listening. Join us next week where we start Part 5 of A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas, covering chapters 46 through 60. Happy reading!